All right, so sometimes I get reverberations when I do this. But anyway, just waiting for 9 people. We're going to also do Oracle cards. I was supposed to do, I think I'm just going to go back on the program for Mind Power into the 21st Century. And I really apologize for the delay. My cat escaped. It was a big production. If you want, I can talk about it later. It was very intense, and it was kind of, a lot happened. But I wanted to talk about porn, and I wanted to talk about, so we're going to use the word corn for porn because we have to use all kinds of crap to hide words that are meaningful. And we're going to talk about the sacred masculine. We're going to talk about PDiddy. If anybody wants to jump on and share their 2 cents on this, cool. But I think we need to start talking about some of the toxicity that has made the sacred masculine, wounded, broken masculines out there thinking that this behavior was normal until it's not, right? And so I'm going to wait for people to get on, and we're going to see if we can share the live with other people. So let's do that. And we're going to talk about how porn is hijacking the sacred masculine and how bad that is. It's very, very bad. And it's very bad because you're not owned. Now, I did a live like a week ago, last week, where thank God I had a wonderful sacred masculine who came on and asked me why. And so I explained to him how that when your root chakra is owned by other people, how that works. So let me see. So I'm going to wait until some people come on. Let's see if anyone comes on. It is Friday night, so it could be that this is not the night. But we're going to talk about the sacred masculine. We're going to talk about PDiddy, who's a very interesting archetype of deviancy and root chakra, massive root chakra deviancy. And when I mean deviancy, and we're going to talk about deviancy. We're going to talk about how we have slowly been hijacked in the root chakra. And the most important way that we were hijacked was through porn. So we're going to use the word corn for porn, okay? So when corn is used, which is appropriate, isn't it, a phallic symbol? When corn is used to create a sense of lust, lust is a raging word because I'm going to sound like I'm some kind of spinster, but believe me, trust me when I say I'm not. Or some kind of frigid chick. I absolutely adore sensuality and sexuality. It's one of my most favorite things. However, with that said, there's a difference between sensuality and sexuality and deviancy. And I think we need to go and explore it and see what's going on. It's weird, I can't see how many people are here, so that's weird. Letty, can you see how many people are here? Are you staying? Thank you for sharing the live, by the way. If you can share the live, because we're going to talk about PDiddy. And the reason we're going to talk about PDiddy is because many of you who are empathic were watching videos with like him and Justin Bieber, not Bieber, and realizing that something was off. One of the things that I saw that was really, really off, and that's when I knew they were going to go after him, was when he supposedly adopted this little white little girl that she was like, I think 14 years old, and she looked absolutely terrified. How he was able to, I don't even know if that was real or if it was real or if he was just being an idiot and joking, but he definitely had a teenage girl amongst these grown-ass men. So my question to you guys is, with this pure evil going on with these freak-offs that they're talking about, which is no different, by the way. They were doing that in Rome, called the Roman orgies. So it's not like, no, he didn't invent anything. I think the only thing that he has brought to the table, which many of the elites do, is the drugs, the illicit drugs. I'm just going to fucking say it. And of course, that's going to totally change the name of the game. But you have to understand that when you go to Europe and you see news in the game, but you have to understand that when you go to Europe and you see nude statues and you're seeing genitalia and breasts and butts and men and women in fountains Go to Europe and you see nude statues and you're seeing genitalia and breasts and butts and men and women in fountains and this and that, and you grow up with that, you get a really good sense of the body and realizing the body, a naked body does not make it sexual. You realize it's sensual. And there are healthy parameters that start happening as you grow up around environments where art, erotic art, for example, is considered normal. And the deviancy that we're seeing is all over the world, don't get me wrong. But if you notice that the deviancy is really in places where cultural and religious edicts decide to suppress to such a level that he becomes deviant. The minute you suppress information, the minute you suppress the kind of information that's going to help very, very young people to make the right decisions, to feel as if they can have a voice, then you're going to have less of what happened with boys. Make the right decisions to feel as if they can have a voice, then you're going to have less of what happened with boys, young children like Justin Bieber. Like, so there's a scene, and then we're going to go into more sacred masculine. Where do I start? How do I start this? Holy fuck. See, in the 19... Go into more sacred masculine. Where do I start? How do I start this? Holy fuck. See, in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, there was such a thing as the casting couch. No one fucking disagreed this was happening. In fact, even Shirley Temple's 40s, there was such a thing as the casting couch. No one fucking disagreed this was happening. In fact, even Shirley Temple came out talking about it. It happened to her and her mother, believe it or not, in 2 separate offices. There are instances where we know Marilyn Monroe had to go up the casting couch, Jane Russell, Ava Gardner, they all had to do it. It was a rite of passage. If you didn't do it, you didn't get a contract. It's that simple. So we've known this for years. And yet, it was allowed. And then when Hugh Hefner decided that he would come out and make a massive amount of money in doing Playboy, putting out Playboy, and if you've ever bought Playboy from the 70s and 80s, they had amazing articles. They did actually have very good articles, but they also were outrageous. Very... Just go and buy yourself an old Playboy. It's really important for you guys to educate yourself so you understand where men came from. In other words, how they were raised by their fathers. How pornography was literally normalized to such a level. And Candace Owens just did a promo for Alive where she said that they have taken our masculines and, that's the word, hijacked. Okay, hijacked them through porn. Now, if you hijacked them through porn. Now, if you understand and you're a spiritualist and you understand the power of the root chakra, of all chakras, but the root chakra, and you realize what was done by design by the 1%. And not to mention the 1% are, I'm good. I think we can agree now, okay? Probably not all of them, but we could say that the majority of them they're deviant and they're evil. I think it's time for us to kind of like come out of the woodworks. And I think there's really nothing I want to learn from a fucking celebrity ever again. There's nothing you can teach me. There's nothing I want to know from you. I've said this many times. I'm learning more from you guys. I actually follow a shitload of people, like in the 8,000 or 9,000, I don't even know, because each of you have stories that are interesting, and you're trying to figure yourself out. And there's a lot of humility, humbleness, and vulnerability, and there's a lot of arrogance. In my opinion, okay, with these super rich, the 1% rich, the 1%. So when P. Diddy was finally exposed after fucking decades of his fuckery. All I can figure when they take a case and they grab somebody as the sacrifice, because there's a lot more of these P. Diddy's around, but they're not famous. They're still billionaires and trillionaires, but they're not famous. They're all over the world. So let's not get kind of crazy thinking we caught the big one. We caught one. They're all over the world. So let's not get kind of crazy thinking we caught the big one. We caught one of the big ones. One of many. Maybe one of 1,000. Maybe one of 10,000. Wouldn't it be a bitch? One of 1,000,000? Anyway, they're all over the world. Watch the movie Taken by Liam Neeson. Taken, literally, it's called Taken by Liam Neeson. And it's with Liam Neeson in it, and it's taken one. Just watch the first one, and then you'll understand how prevalent and what different cultures and countries do that. So in the 1%, these kinds of deviant desires are normalized. There are girls coming back from Dubai talking about stories. Some of them never come back. Wink, wink, if you get my drift. And it's not a good wink either. So P. Diddy's not doing anything that isn't being done all over the world. And so what happens when you've got the sacred masculine deep diving into corn, aka and so what happens when you've got the sacred masculine deep diving into corn, aka porn, and finding images that they probably should like use the escape button out, not because they're not grown enough to look at it, but because it will wire their brain for things that they really, it's very hard. It's almost like getting a taste of heroin. The first taste for many can be devastating because they want more, okay? And any questions or comments? I would love it if somebody jumped in, if you wanted to join in this conversation, if you want to. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know I could move that. Sacred masculine right here. Look at his crown chakra. You don't get a crown chakra like this. Look at this drawing. You don't get a crown chakra like this until your root chakra is kick-ass and you own it. No one else owns it. You own it. Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Does anybody have any questions or comments about P. Diddy? And is anyone surprised? Are you guys literally surprised that he was that sick in the head and that he was that lustful in a deviant way, not in a normal, tantric, loving? You could be polyamorous, you could be this and that. We've talked about 50 Shades of Grey. And like I said, if you're going to really do that kind of shit, you might as well read Marquis de Sade. At least learn from the king. Learn from the man who invented and who knew how to write about it, not from 50 Shades. 50 Shades is, I remember writing a blog on it going, Cinderella gets her ass kicked and loves it, okay? That was the premise of the book, basically, the series of books. So not surprised there's others above him. Absolutely, yeah, he is more or less a pimp. That means he's the lower vibe. He's on the lower echelon. But what it's showing us, what you're about to see, what is about to be revealed to you is some shit that is going to shake you up. Now, what is breaking my heart is I remember looking at Justin Bieber, and here he is with P. Diddy, and they're talking about what he's got him for 48 hours. As a mother, I don't even know how the parents could have dropped him off and not gotten red flags and said, kid, get back in the fucking car, we're leaving. I'm going to give you an example of something that happened. My son is a very beautiful young man today. When he was 6 years old, he was constantly, actually his first modeling job was when he was 2. And so at the age of 6, we decided, okay, well, let's go ahead. And we could give him a college fund, blah, blah, blah. And we lived in LA, so we lived in that world. And we went ahead and joined a modeling agency, and he went in for the casting call. They would not let me in as a parent. Red flag. They would not let me in at all. He got a call back, and they were offering him the job. And the callback was like 1 or 2, and it looked like he was up. He was going to get the job. And I remember calling my husband and saying, I don't feel good about this. This is really freaking me out that I can't go in on these, these sessions. I can't, I'm not being allowed. And we sat through it together, and we decided that we were never going to let him in that world until he was a grown-ass man and he could make his own decisions. So we pulled him out of the agency and we called it a day. It's sometimes it's not worth it. And it just isn't. Because some of the, unfortunately, not surprised, sad it's taken so long for justice to be served. Absolutely. I think it's important for us to understand that this is just like, it feels to me like it's the beginning. Epstein was a beginning. We got to see that his head honcho was a chick, a woman. Quite often women are involved in these fucking scenarios. Women are involved also in trades, sex trades. and usually women are involved in that. I think you guys need to probably look at the fact that there are a lot of evil women as well that enjoy this shit. And there's a sickness in the mind. And when Hugh Hefner was tooted and was so exciting to go to the Playboy Mansion for their parties, and Bill Cosby's going, all the football players were going to the, Hugh Hefner's mansion. You probably were kids or not even born when that shit was going on, but it was going on. I don't think it's any different than what is going on with the freak-ons, right? And I think that maybe the fact that there are illicit drugs is no different than what was going on in the 70s. I kid you not. Because I remember a lot of these Playboy bunnies and Playboy girls and whatever were coming out trying to expose the grapes that were going on there. And it never went to court, because in the 70s, if a woman called out grape, she was put through like she was the fucking perpetrator, and she asked for it, and what did she wear, and what were her past lovers. And when you were graped before the 90s, it was horrible. So it was better off you saying nothing, because if you said something and you were trying to actually go up the ladder, you were going to get, they were going to destroy you, because there was a new girl coming in that was better looking than you or whatever. So this has been going for so long. But what's incredible, and the question I'd like to ask all of you is, what do you think they're distracting us from? Because whenever they pull out their bullshit, they're always distracting us from something else. So the question I have for you is, what do you think they're distracting us from? Any ideas? What is the distraction? Because this will keep us in tow to watch especially if they decide to put this online where you guys can watch the trial, the PDiddy trial, right? And they're trying to get this in court ASAP, right? It looks like they're moving the wheel. The wheel of justice is moving very fastly. So my question to you is, what do you think they're distracting us from? Because this is a distraction. It's not like they didn't know 10 years ago what the fuck he was doing. It's not like Justin Bieber wasn't writing songs in lyrics that clearly, by the way, I never listened to his music. In fact, I never listened to any of this music because it's low vibration. I've never listened to rap. It's not my thing at all, because it's low vibration. I don't listen to acid rock because it's low vibration. It's not anything. It's just low vibration. So high vibration would be, just on the side note, 432 hertz, 528 hertz, things of that nature. Kirtan, chanting, mantras, that's high vibration. Kirtan, chanting, mantras, that's high vibration. So on that side note, I never knew this kid was writing those kind of lyrics until like fucking this week. And I was like, holy fuck. So he was selling millions of records, right? And no one thought this was happening. I mean, this young man is literally writing his experiences on how he became famous in his lyrics, and no one red flagged it. Like, what the fuck was going on? I'm shocked only because I wasn't listening to this kid's music. So, I mean, if you guys were listening to Justin Bieber's music, did you hear that? Did you listening to this kid's music? So, I mean, if you guys were listening to Justin Bieber's music, did you hear that? Did you ever like flag it and go, holy fuck, what's going on here? The movie Sound of Freedom shows us exactly how evil women can be. Good. It's good to see that, because I think women sometimes forget how dangerous women can be. Right. Why now? Right before the election. Exactly. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. That's my point. Like, what the fuck? Wealth transfer. Very good. Yeah. Where's all that money's going to go? Like him throwing around $10 million, $50 million, like whatever. Like, and he didn't even know how to play poker. How Puff Daddy got rich is out of brutality and intimidation, because it certainly wasn't out of stealthness and intelligence. Got rich is out of brutality and intimidation, because it certainly wasn't out of stealthness and intelligence. Because from what I've heard, you don't make an offer. You shut up and you listen to what is being offered to you. Then you make an offer and you wait and wait and wait. I mean, anybody who's ever played poker knows, or chess even, you gotta read people. You gotta read the room, read the court. But he's so either stupidly arrogant, I guess both, that apparently him offering $50 million for bail was like a massive red flag for the courts, and so they denied it right off the bat. Where had he waited and waited, he might have had a chance, believe it or not. So he kind of fucked up his chances. With Sean Mendez woke me up to his pain and Sean's. Wow. Okay, gotcha. And again, you know what's funny? I'm not talking about P Diddy because I follow any of them. I'm not embarrassed to say I've never followed any of these people. But what I will say to you is that when you have men like that who are billionaires and hundreds of millions of dollars in their account, and you have young men coming up who are broke, hungry, most of them raised by single mothers, most of them having half blood siblings, meaning, and this is across the cultures. It's all these different races and belief systems. It's not one culture at all. It's all. I mean, fuck, look at it. Elon Musk. He's got, 11 or 12 kids from different mothers. I mean, it's like, even billionaires, trillionaires. He's about to become a trillionaire on the side note. But something that I always knew about Tupac, and this is something I knew because of my husband, because of friends, his advanced compassion for society and his hyper awareness to the imbalance of wealth, like really realizing it on a massive scale. So he was not going to take any shit. And the sad part is he was taken out before he could really he was like a John Lennon of his time on some levels. I think even better than John Lennon, because he really wasn't going to play the game. And God knows what happened between him and P. Diddy that he was taken out. And so apparently, and I always felt cheated that young man was removed from the planet before he could really, and then look at all the things he shared in all his videos. All the incredible, beautiful philosophies he shared. Imagine him at 34, what he would have said, how he could have helped the planet. So the evil 1% have always made sure that if we ever had a voice, like when Prince started coming out with truth, yeah, he didn't live long after that truth. Does that make sense? Whenever they start waking up, it's interesting how they're removed. So any questions or comments? I'd love to hear your points of views, because the concept of these young men who are on the streets of America looking up at guys like P. Diddy and evil witches like, J-Lo, and looking at that incredible amount of wealth and freedom of choice, and this overt nastiness in sexuality, and really bastardizing and making sexuality, like lowering it to the lowest frequency, even below that, to the point of evil. To take sexuality and to make it evil, that takes some shit, but apparently they're masters of it. And so, and normalizing, making it where men will look at a woman like you as a woman, and you say, why are you watching all this porn? And your answer from your man will be, well, all men do it. Yeah, that is a problem. All men do it. Way too many. Do all sacred masculines do it? Actually, when you're a sacred masculine, you choose not to do it, because you're realizing what it is. You're realizing how it's got you by the gonads. Like literally, it's almost like they have their hands around your, your root chakra, okay? And you know that they own you. As long as they have their hands around your root chakra, they own you. As long as you cannot step away from that monitor or that phone, they own you. You will not make love to your woman or your man if you're gay, with the kind of intimacy that you should experience, that is so transcendental that you could actually have spiritual downloads. Do you realize that when you have an incredible intimate connection with your beloved, I don't care if it's a twin flame, I don't care if it's a high level soulmate, once that happens, the downloads from spirit, I'm not joking, because if spirit didn't want us to have it, we wouldn't have it. We wouldn't have the equipment to enjoy it, okay? At all. Do you understand? God's not stupid. He wouldn't give you all of these beautiful energies to bastardize it. Does that make sense? But it's funny how we've been bastardized again and again for our psychic energy, for our powers to move winds. There was a time when Native Americans, there were people called rainmakers, and they could make rain happen. They could bring a flood of water to arid places by just pure ceremonious dances and so forth. And it was really happening. Okay? And this was happening all over the world. So when you own a man's root chakra, you own his entire person. I don't care if he's in front of that computer for an hour a day, but he does it every day and he's addicted to it. You men better wake up. If you think it's okay for your root chakra to be grabbed and owned by the 1%, and that's why porn, whatever the fuck they want me to call it, let's call it corn, just so we can stay on the slide for a little longer. The minute they have you like that, and you think it's normal because all men do it, look at the men who have profited from it. Do they have integrity? Are they kind? Would you trust them with your investments? You know, like with your money? Probably the answer is no. From Andrew Tate to Hugh Hefner to PDiddy with their music videos, with using incredible foul language to talk about women. Now we know what words say. You've all heard people talk about spelling. Okay, well, here, fuck spelling. Words have vibration. Words are evocative. And they took, here, fuck spelling. Words have vibration. Words are evocative. And they took 2 generations of human beings from the 80s all the way to today, 2 generations, and fucked their root chakra up by design. So they can't even think. They're just addicted to shit and they don't know how to stop it. But to normalize deviancy, which start, in my opinion, and I don't give a shit if you love 50 Shades of Grey and all of that, and you thought it was great storytelling, and it was the most erotic thing, I'm going to say, read the Olympia Reader. You want to really learn about erotica? Read the Olympia Reader. Okay, it's a whole anthology of erotic stories where the publishers kept being jailed in Paris. You want to really learn how to read like really good stuff? Read Anais Nin. Okay? There are all these incredible older erotic writers. Read Marquis de Sade. You want to fucking read 50 Shades of Grey? Then go to Marquis de Sade. Just go directly to Justine and start there. At least read the best. Read the ones who originated this shit instead of the ones who copied it. You know, like learn what is out there that is really, that actually instigated 50 Shades of Grey, which was really, you know, had the guy come out at the end of the book, I don't transform when he went, I'm going to make it up to make you guys laugh, where he went to India and did, you know, eat, pray, love kind of shit and came back to her and said, I got it. I know what tantric sex is. I know what kundalini rising is. I know what my chakras are. I don't want that shit anymore. I want us just to exchange breath. I want us to make slow love. I want to do this, that, and the other to each other. I want to spend whole weekends in bed with you and just eat and make love and explore you and all of that and meditate with you. If he had come back, I would have said, wow, that's a fucking amazing story. Fuck, hello. But that's not what happened, did it? And so when you normalize deviancy, you take away intimacy. You can't convince me otherwise. Any questions or comments on that? Any questions or comments? I'm sure I've turned a lot of people off because that was your book. That was maybe it was the first erotic book you ever read, the series, right? And you thought it was the greatest thing you'd ever. I really implore you to look, and I challenge you to look at other writings. As for the men who are using porn to heal something or to, for a minute, where you fantasize something that will never happen to you, ever, right? Because you're fantasizing about somebody you'll never have. He will never say your name. They'll never touch you. They'll never love you. They'll never look at you with affection. They'll never want to be with you unless you're paying them. Do you understand? That is lack energy. That is a complete lack energy that is centered in your root chakra. And after that, you're kind of fucked. And if that becomes wirings in your brain to untangle that mess in your head, because erotica and sensuality starts in the head, not between your thighs, just on the side note, but it starts there. And so when you start messing up how you think about sexuality and sensuality, you fuck everything up. So now we are watching. It's interesting too, because I talked about this yesterday on my live about how so many men have been abused as children. So many. And now you've seen Justin Bieber, and I remember seeing him crying and this and that, and I had a sense of what had happened. I wasn't really deep diving into it because I knew he was one of many, many, many. But you're about to see, and I hope to God he thrives through this. I really do. There's nothing for him to be ashamed of at all. Nothing. In fact, maybe he's going to be the poster child for many, many grown-ass men who have gone through that, who can turn to their beloved. And I hope you women will give sacred space when a man is given fortification in his heart to actually look at Justin Bieber, whose experiences are probably going to be exposed during this case, right? What happened to him under the care, quote unquote, of Diddy. And many men are going to get triggered because they're going to remember shit that happened to them. And I wish I could speak to you candidly about some of the stories I've heard that have blown my fucking mind. But I would say 1 out of 5 men have gone through that as children. So the Justin Bieber, with him crying and with him trying to reclaim his masculinity, his sexuality, his sensuality, it looks like he has a wonderful partner in his wife. And it looks like he's going to make it, but he is still quite fragile. It looks like he has a wonderful partner in his wife. And it looks like he's going to make it, but he is still quite fragile. But I'm hoping encouragement and tell him not to be ashamed, that everything's going to be okay. And he's loved no matter what. I mean, I'm not a fan of him, but I'm going to support any masculine who is going in the rocky road. It's almost like he's walking barefoot on broken glass. It is a very so that he can put this, like purge all this shit out of him. And hopefully he'll find really good healers that can teach him, help him with Reiki energy, that can help him with hypnotherapy so he can purge it one last, burn that shit down to the ground and build a new divine masculine foundation for the rest of his life and for his children. Does that make sense? But what's happening in a way is very important right now for the sacred masculine. There's going to be a lot more exposed, and I'm sad that I'm really deeply saddened that men for so long have thought that it was normal and have normalized some of these basic ideas of, I don't know, fucking catcalling 14-year-old girls, a whole group of little girls coming out of high school, shit like that. It's not fucking normal, and it should not be normalized, and it should not be tolerated. I know my husband, God bless his soul, called men out all the time. My son calls men out all the time. You men need to call men out who fucking act like they're high school boys. You're not high school boys anymore. If you look in the mirror and you got gray in your beard, you have no business looking at a 14-year-old girl. So when you have guys like PDiddy who are doing it, and they're billionaires and they're untouchable, so we think, right? And now their justice is being served. But you all thought that this was okay because, well, he's a billionaire, he's getting away with it, and just all men do that. No, all deviant men, all sick men, all wounded men, all broken men do this. Grown-ass, divine masculines, they don't do that, and they do not tolerate that shit at all. Okay? And so what's happening is that this idea that money makes you successful and money makes you fantastic. By the way, money is not the root of all evil. Let's stop that bullshit. I'm hearing comments of people saying, well, it's money. Money is the root of all evil. It makes people do. No. Because there are poor people doing this to other people who are poor. Not to the level where, you have 1,000 baby oils sitting around. Not to that level where there's grand marble staircases. But there are people who are poor in various countries in the world abusing women and children. So it's not money, it's people, okay? And it's a decision whether I'm going to have integrity, and I'm going to be good, and I'm going to use my money for good, or I'm going to be a hoarder, and I'm going to abuse and bully and intimidate people to do what I want. And if they won't do it, I'll beat them up. And if they won't do it, I'll make them unconscious with different cocktails, cocktails of persuasions. You know what I'm saying? So we need to, men, you think that I'm saying that because I'm a woman, right? You're going to think, well, she's jealous, or she's older now, or no. That's not it. I've been a man before. I've been an asshole of a man before and a very good man before. I remember many of these consciousness of being of man, of making love to a woman. I remember those things. And in this incarnation, I'm a woman to experience what it was, the magic of being a female. And you as divine masculines, your job is to call men out and shame them. It's funny how we allow the deviant men to bully and shame all people, but it's not okay for us as divine masculines to bully and shame men who are deviant and harmful to our children and women. I think it's time for us to turn the tables around and to have courage and in the face of that, and not to think that money is success. Money is not success. Money is a form of energy. And money exchanges hands very fluidly depending on what the karma is. Some of you have decided that you would have enough money to pay all your bills, but you would never have an excess because you wanted to be in the trenches of the 99% to help rise many to the ascension. Did you ever think of that? Do you really think that if you'd been a billionaire, you would have been able to become who you are? Watching people getting fired like 2 months before their retirement, shit like that, just stories like that, stories after stories that you've literally filed away in your head, realizing the injustice and the imbalance of the planet. You know what I'm saying? So many of you, it's not that you don't deserve money or you're not wired for money or that money is the root of all evil. It's not that. It's that you needed to be in the trenches to report back to your guides to help with the ascension. And the ascension is to basically stop the 1% from intimidating and bullying the masses. Can you imagine? We are the masses and they have intimidated and bullied us and made us feel like we weren't good enough because we didn't have what they have. Well, let me tell you what we have they don't have. Honor. We are connected to the divine source. We honor our sexual energy. We realize that the root chakra is a place of massive co-creation with the universe in multiple ways, sex magic being one. If sex magic wasn't so powerful, do you really think that these 1% don't know what they're using it for? Because you see, sex magic is used in dark, evil, nefarious ways, as well as light, crystalline energy fashion. That's how powerful the root chakra is. So when you start taking people's power, which if you want to really, really learn about this, the master of the 1% and how they manipulate through the root chakra, okay? Using corn, sexuality, deviancy, and all that. Watch David Icke. He's been talking about this since the 80s. And he was booed and laughed at for decades before finally people went, wait, hang on. He's not a conspiracy theorist after all. He's actually fucking telling the truth. Oh my God. We're finally catching up to this man who must have been like a lone wolf, and many were throwing rocks and pelting him with fucking rotten fruit. I'm not joking, actually, quite literally what I'm saying. But his root chakra was clean. It was from a place of his power. And so you had these young men admiring PDiddy, envying or being jealous of Justin Bieber, and the price paid for those kinds of little toys, because they're fucking little toys. Because the real power is being in nature and connecting and watching and deciding that you want to make the wind blow, and it does. Now that's power, and people do it. The Iceman is a man, I'm sure you've heard about him. The Iceman, the guy who's taught America and the world how to plunge into ice water, because he's the one that actually put it on the map. Until him, people were just taking plunges. I mean, I remember being in boarding school in the south of France in the 70s, plunging in cold ice water. It's not new shit, okay? It's ancient wisdom. But the point is, he put it on the map. So here's this guy going up the Kilimanjaro mountain in shorts with sneakers, okay? And he did it because he could control his body and the mechanism of his body, and the blood pouring in and out of his heart and his lungs and controlling everything. There are monks that will meditate in the snow, and they will douse them with cold water, ice water, and then laden the blankets made out of wool. You know how heavy woolen blankets are when they're wet and then throw those blankets on them. And with meditation and mantras, they will make themselves dry and steam, and the blanket will be hot like a heated blanket from the mind. That's power. So why would they want to bastardize and kidnap the root chakra using PDiddy and nefarious, deviant masculines like that to stop us from understanding our divine powers? That's why the divine masculine has to rise off its knees and teach and heal broken and lost masculines. The money came for the Iceman. I forgot his real name, actually. It's Will something. It's a German name. I forgot his name right now. It's not what's important, but you guys know. Look up Iceman, where he does cold plunges and shit like that. He's rich. He's probably got a few $1 million. I don't know. Maybe he has $100 million with good investment. I don't know. But the point is, he wasn't rich when he started. But his path was a path of honing and harnessing the energies of his body and his mind. That's what they don't want. Can you imagine if we had guys like Iceman, if we had 100 million men like the Iceman right now, with clarity and integrity and honor and a complete control of their root chakra? Can you imagine what the world would be like right now? Can you imagine? The P. Diddy's could not exist in that kind of world. They couldn't exist. The J-Los wouldn't exist. We'd have divine feminines. And we have many divine feminines who are waiting for divine masculines. But I'm going to be, as I've been telling in many of my lives, don't wait. Don't wait. But as the Wizard of Oz curtains are torn down, where this idea that, somehow these people have a secret of living the best life, right? It isn't their best life. The best life is what I've just described. The ability to actually harness this power that you have. And when the root chakra is fucked, you can't possibly harness that. You can't possibly express that into 3D. It's not going to happen. Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Wim Hof, thank you. Wim Hof, thank you, Nando. Wim Hof, yes. So there's something about cold plunging, and Joe Rogan talks about it. They all talk about it, right? So what do you think is the reason for the fall? Well, I think one is a distraction with the elections. Rachel, thank you for saying that. But I also think that the universe, the Galactic Council, I'm just going to go right there, realizes that this was time. That the damage that he was exercising was, he was destroying too many souls for his own pleasure. And his violence was increasing and increasing, and God knows what else he's done that will never be revealed to us. Okay, God knows. And what I mean by that is people disappearing. And what else? And where was these videos going to? Who was he selling these videos to? Everybody wants to go to Dubai. Like, that's the fucking place, because you can put your wallet on. There was a guy that tested it. He put his wallet, his cell phone, and on a bench, and came back 2 hours later, was still there. Oh my God, it's just such a safe country. Is it really safe? Because if you really listen, if you go down into the darker corners of that story, you'll see that there are a lot of women that have gone in, that have been like Instagram chicks and stuff like that, being invited to do all kinds of fucking deviant ass shit. Shit that I knew about in the 70s. Why didn't I know? Because my father, thank God bless him, fucking God bless him. Because my father, I'm not going to tell you exactly how he said it to me, but at the age of 14, he started educating me on how men are and how the rich work. Because he didn't want to be a victim of it. So rather than have other people like influence me, the wrong people, he made sure that I understood what the deal was on the streets of the high and mighty. Not the streets in the ghetto, the streets of the high and mighty. Because that's a world that you have to understand. Because when you've had everything then gets boring, if you get my drift. And then you want more and more and more, which is where P. Diddy was at. Okay? So he's one of many. And the question is, why is it now collapsing? Well, it's collapsing for the greater good. It needed to collapse because if it continued, we weren't going to ascend. Because there's a butterfly effect to this shit. So when you think about it, when there are people suffering, people going through depressions, people whose root chakra is blocked, it's a 100-monkey theory. So as long as this man was doing this, and by the way, there are men right now, tonight, doing exactly what he's been doing for years. Right now, as we speak. Richer than him, more powerful than him. But as this collapses, there is an awakening that is going to shake us up. And so you've got to protect your root chakra, all your chakras, of course, but you've got to look at your blockages. You got to look at your blockages, and then you have to figure out, what do I need to heal? Be honest. Don't fucking hide from it. Be honest. Okay? There are things that have happened to you that you may now need to fucking look at it and start reclaiming yourself. If you know you're doing something that is harming you, and you fucking know if you are, then try to rewire your brain to stop doing these patterns. Okay? There was something that I was told a long time ago. If you know somebody's sexual desires, you know everything you need to know about them. That's a heavy thing to say about someone, because at that point you own them. You own them from top to bottom. You own everything about them once you know what they want. And then you can use it against them. You can use that information to manipulate them, to own them, to do whatever the hell you want, which is what PDiddy was doing all along. And he was taking what hurts my soul, to be honest with you, it does, is he was taking innocent, it wasn't just Justin, okay? Let's not keep focusing on there are many that were his age that didn't survive, that are lost out there, maybe homeless, maybe broke, maybe destroyed because they didn't want to do it anymore. They couldn't do it anymore. They couldn't face themselves anymore. Read the book Basketball Diaries by Jim Carroll. Read the book Basketball Diaries, and it's not the movie. The movie was a joke. It's not the movie, okay? Read the book Basketball Diaries by Jim Carroll. It has nothing to do with the movie. The movie was a joke, okay? When you read the book, you'll start fucking crying, because that has been the reality, and it has been hush hush for fucking probably hundreds of years, thousands of years. Any questions or comments? Anything at all that you want to talk about, that you want to share? Anything at all about this whole awakening of the deviancy of the 1% and how one by one they're being exposed? So there was the list with Epstein, right? And I remember somebody saying, they should totally expose the whole list. And I was like, yeah, expose the list, and then let's see how many people went back. See, the list is important only if everyone kept going back. But there were people that probably got on the plane thinking it was going to be a cruise, kind of like Virgin, Virgin Atlantic, the guy that owned, what was his name? Brandon or something. He was into hot air balloons. He had an island too, but his island was really, you did go and have fun and nothing fucking crazy was happening, nothing nefarious. But Epstein's Island, I'm sure there were people that got on the plane and went, oh yeah, no, get me the fuck off this island, okay? So the list, it's not so important. What's important is how many people went, how many times did they go on that island. That's what tells you everything, right? 20 times, 30 times, 40 times, 100 times, twice, once. I could see, yeah, no, it's not, they never went back. So with P. Diddy, in my opinion, that's the same. There was somebody who was being interviewed, and I wish I could give him credit, but he was saying something about Denzel Washington. He said that Denzel Washington would go to these parties, okay? But he'd say, leave, I'm sure you've seen the video, leave before the devil arrives, or leave before the devil appears, something like that. So he made it a point, this particular gentleman, to, as soon as he saw Denzel fucking leave, he left, he right on his heels, out, gone. Didn't want to get involved in whatever. Didn't even want to know about it. Didn't even want to see it. But don't ask, don't tell. See no evil, say no evil, hear no evil. Yeah, that's not good enough anymore. And that has been how Hollywood has played its hand and the 1% all over the world for centuries. If you didn't want to be a part of it, you could just leave. Not stop it, just leave. And that's not good enough anymore, is it, my friends? Is it? Is it enough to say, Yeah, as long as I know, yeah, I'll just leave. I'll just get all the benefits of life, but I will not, because I get benefits from handshakes and making, deals with agents and movie directors and shit like that. And I'm all of that's going to happen. And I'm getting all these benefits of connections. But as soon as it gets real, I'm fucking leaving out the door. What I like about what's happening is that rules of engagement, you're about to see them change. But unfortunately, for many of you out there, it's going to trigger the fuck out of you. And if I were you, I would sit there and journal how this is impacting you as you see it. Because unfortunately, many of you are not unscathed by your own personal experience and traumas. And so if I were you, I would journal. I would follow some of the things you're about to listen to as the trial unfolds. I hope to God they televise it, because I think it's going to be very important. Not to be like weirdos, but to actually look at how far this went, for how long, and why did it take this long, and what was the tipping point? Was it really a girl being beaten in a hallway, or was it, or was it something else? Did he piss off the wrong 1% member? That's really the question for me. Or is he being used, and they might realize too late that maybe this was not a good idea, because I have a feeling that this is going to be a very big domino effect. I think people are waking up to a lot of shit, and no one wants a planet that's this way, that's run by people like that, who are that fucking sick in the head, and who make our lives so miserable. Let's be honest, the 1%, that you can't, that many of you can't be with your beloved because they're so busy trying to hustle rent or mortgage or money to put aside for a vacation, or they won't ask to marry you because they can't even afford a fucking ring. Shit like that, like symbolisms of 3D worlds that are considered important, the big wedding and the big ring and the big engagement. And well, look at that rock on that finger, like that's success. You know what success is? A man who only has eyes for you, a woman who only has eyes for you, where you guys are connecting so strongly with each other that you attract amazing souls that choose to be, they want you to be their parents. That's massive success. And the 1% has made it very difficult for many of us to come into lasting, beautiful unions where we could be healthy and thriving and attracting amazing souls through our wombs, through our semen, and having amazing experiences and laying in bed and deciding not to work for a week and just creating and loving and cooking and whatever the fuck we wanted. But the 1% has created a system that had us ragged and tired and we're not sleeping enough. We're not thriving like we should. And instead, the 1%, if you think this is just PDiddy and his little gang of deviant, people, you're fucking dead wrong. It's pretty much across the board with the 1%. It's across the board. Are there some that aren't part of that? Of course there are. I just mentioned it. I doubt very much that everyone's into this, but I think that the ones that have their boots on our throats are into this. Does that make sense? And they have their own ways and their own particular parties that they throw. Does that make sense? Yeah. Any questions or comments? Okay. So yeah, make sure you keep looking at the news. And what I mean by that is find out what's coming up that's being suppressed. Because when a trial this big is coming up, because it's about to come up during the holidays, I believe, everyone's talking about him. We're not talking about Gaza anymore. We're not talking about what they're doing to those men. Okay, right? Didn't we see a grape of men that were grabbed by a certain type of people that we are financing? Didn't we see that? Yeah, that was on the news. And then, by the way, they were giving medals to the people who did the grape on those men. My point to you is that our eyes are being led astray for a guy who was just making music, who turned out to be a complete jerk. He's a deviant, evil man. And everyone allowed him. Women were always also part of that. And that's really shocking. Let me see. I want to do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do I want to do a Kali Oracle reading. And the reason I want to do Kali Oracle is because I want to see what the message is. The pagers and cells exploding in Lebanon. There you go. There you go. Yep. The pagers and cells exploding in Lebanon. And I saw on X, Twitter, a woman from that side of the blue and white team, right? Let's call them the blue and white team, who actually did a whole parody on how funny that was. Okay, and they're allowed to do that. They're allowed to laugh and to have their own agendas that are very racist, massively, like sickeningly. And no one can talk about the Nakba in 1948. No one can do, in other words, yeah, our eyes are now all on PDiddy. Great. Now the root chakra is going to be, the deviant root chakras of the 1% is going to be exposed. Fantastic. We get to see that. But we have seen that in that part of the world. They have been graping all kinds of its citizens, and there's no age limit, if you get my drift. And many of the pedos that are here, that have been here, are able to find asylum in that part of the world. Wink, wink. Okay, so we have a problem, don't we? So why am I comparing that to corn? Because when you go down the rabbit hole of corn, there's no fucking, it's bottomless. Okay, it goes, the rabbit hole will take you to places that is best for you not to see. Because you know the old saying, I can't unsee what I saw, is a real fucking problem. And some of you are empathic and incredibly sensitive, and you can't see shit like that. And some of your men, and some of the men right now on this live who are listening to me, or who will listen to me on this pre-recorded afterwards, you got to realize that I know you've seen shit you shouldn't seen. And it could spark something in you that you can't so easily control, if you get my drift. I want you, your homework this weekend is to watch the movie Kinsey with Liam Neeson. Kinsey, Kinsey. He was I want you to pay attention to the scene where he's with his father, and he's now, a celebrated Dr. Kinsey with his Kinsey Institute in Indiana University and sexual studies. And he came out with a book in 1959 called I think it was called Male Sexuality. Yeah, 1959. I actually own the book, first edition. I sold it for $100 like 20 years ago. And I saw the movie, and it blew my mind. There's a scene where he's talking to his father, and his father's almost crying. Watch that scene more than once. There's a reason why I'm asking you to watch it. Because we went from religious orders, all religions, damn near, okay? All of them have, in particular, attacked the masculine root chakra. In particular. To lobotomize the masculine power that comes from the root chakra. And they've done it to women as well, but more so, watch that scene and you'll see what I mean. And it's going to make you fucking cry. Because that's generational trauma. The generational trauma you are trying to heal in your bloodlines right now as we speak is located in the root chakra. You got to go all the way down the line and go into your meditation and let the aha moments drop through your crown chakra to figure out what the fuck happened. When did it start? What side of your lineage? Your mother or your father's? Or both? And then you can actually heal it. And it won't take weeks or months. It could be damn near immediate. You can do it yourself, because once you know you are tapping into the lives of your ancestry that you inhabit today, because that's your bloodline today. You might be Irish today, African American today, Indonesian today, Japanese today. It won't be in your next life, but in this life it is. And you're doing massive work for the collective. Because when you heal you, you heal me. When I heal me, I heal you. It's the 100 monkey theory. They've given us breadcrumbs all along on how to do it. They, are guides. using humans as conduits to those messages, right? So when you look at what's happening, well, they're shielding our eyes. They're going to look, they're pointing us to P. Diddy instead of what's actually the same shit's happening over on that part of the world. Okay? Where there is no drugs and partying. Where it is, massive suffering and pain. Think about what's going on. But so you need to keep your eyes wide open, 360 degrees. Not 90 degrees, 360. Do a full turnaround of what's going on. Be aware and awake and speak of it. And learn how to weave in and out of these stories so that you can actually awaken other people to see with eyes wide open to 360 degrees. Whenever they pull shit like that, a big case, like the O.J. Simpson trial, I can't even tell you what they were hiding then, because to be honest, I was a kid and I was so busy just fucking surviving. I had 2 jobs. Well, you think 2 jobs is a new thing from COVID? No, fucking most of us have always had 2 jobs, if not 3. You think this shit's new? Don't be gaslit by narcissistic leaders. It's always been like that. All my friends either live with their parents in the 70s and 80s. Well, I was a kid in the 70s, but everyone I knew was like fucking living stacked, 5 people in one house. The only difference is that one house cost $1,200 a month. 5 people. Okay, so nothing's changed. The fuckery was always the fuckery. The difference is that now we are at the footsteps of ascension and they are blasting us with as many distractions as they can. Right? As many. Any questions or comments? Let me see here. All right. So I want to pull a Kali Oracle deck, believe it or not, because I want to know what it's going to say. Because whenever I pull an Oracle deck from Alana Fairchild, she never fucking misses the mark. It's the weirdest shit. So let me see what's going on with that. Bear with me. Oh, it's right next to me. Hello. All right. So I want you to call on your angels, guides, and allies and ask them what we need to know as a collective. Don't ask about you. Not today. Today is about the collective. We need to understand what the message is for us as to what's going on with the root chakra and what we need to understand. Okay? So when you're ready, I want you to pick top, bottom, and middle. Majority wins. Okay? This time we're going to do majority. All right? So be quick on the draw, or else you might not get the card you think you should get. But again, this is for the collective. Top, bottom, or middle. All right, middle. Thank you, love. Anything else? No? Okay. Anything else? Top, bottom, or middle? Top, bottom, or middle? You guys are slow. Come on, guys. Type. No? Okay. Okay. Middle. Okay, got it. Thank you, God. Okay, guess what? All right, it's 2 skulls on a sword. It looks like a sword hooked. It's from the Kali Oracle deck. And it's number 9. Guess what 9 is? 2025 is going to be the number 9. 2024 has been the number 8, and it has kicked our fucking asses. 8 is karma. It's paying karma. 9 is co-creating with the universe. It's a master number. So it's called Kaja. It's called Kaja. It's number 9. And I'm going to read it to you. And I want you to sit back and close your eyes and listen with your body, not just with your ears, but your whole entire cell. Okay? All right, Kaja. She wields the holy sword of divine severance, empowering the soul in radical letting go. She instills the courage to bear the pain of loss and the wisdom to realize the secret blessing that can only arise when we embrace change. Wow. Where our strength of will may falter, she intervenes to ensure we do not sabotage our ultimate fulfillment and spiritual progress. She will not allow our souls to be ensnared in any kind of deception or trapped in fear. She is the liberator, and her sword clears the path, revealing truth. Kaja is the Sanskrit word for sword. Let me stop here. Okay, sword. Beautiful word, sword. Because sword is the sword of truth in tarot. It cuts away bullshit and speaks only the truth. And if the truth is not presented to, divine, to your own divine soul or to another divine soul, that sword will slash it away. Excalibur was one of the most famous swords ever written about, right? You all remember Excalibur, right? So the sword of truth. The sword of truth is also, many of us have been beaten on the anvil of life. Anvil is when they beat metal into a sword. The samurai sword, I think, is folded 100 times, which made it the most powerful sword on the planet for quite some time because it would not break in combat. The sword. Interesting. So kaja is the Sanskrit word for sword. Devi kaja hasta means the divine mother who wields the sword. What is this sacred weapon? The sword severs, breaks, and destroys. It can be a symbol of truth. Oh, bloody hell, these people. Hang on. They're making me do the puzzle again. Okay, let me read. Okay. The sword severs, breaks, and destroys. It can be a symbol for truth and the need of the soul to let something or someone go, even though the attachment of the ego may demand that we remain connected out of fear of loss or fear of the pain of loss. Devi Kali's sword is the symbol of her will and her attainment. Her sword knows which attachment requires severing and when and how to obtain such a release. Even when the holding on, perhaps out of fear or guilt or doubt, denies us the capacity to even consider walking away, her will prevails. Sometimes we invest in a relationship, a situation, a place, or an opportunity because we feel it is needed and beneficial, only to realize later, if at all, that we have outgrown it. Then it becomes, at best, something slowing down our awakening, and at worst, a direct impediment to our spiritual growth. Regressive tendencies creep up on us slowly so that we don't realize how much damage is being done over time. Regression tendencies creep up on us slowly so that we don't realize how much damage is being done over time. When your root chakra is connected to any addiction, whether it's porn, alcohol, food, shopping, we are all struggling with our own addiction. Trust me, you're not alone. You're not alone. Very few people can do this shit fucking sober. I'm not joking, okay? So something is going to grab you. Shopping, gambling, buying a piece of, whatever the hell it is. Get it together. Because it's distracting you. And then some of you go through regrets and rumination of regrets. It's fucking you up. It's fucking all of us up. If you're not going to do it for yourself, fucking do it for us as the collective. Because when you heal, I heal. When I heal, you heal. I'm not joking. Even if we have a sense of something is not quite right, our awareness can never be complete when we are determined to remain attached and unwilling to see any truth that threatens that attachment. Any unwavering desire for a particular outcome locks us into an unwillingness to see the truth that would shift our perspective and open us to a superior outcome. We may admit something is wrong, but choose to believe that if we change ourselves somehow or work harder to heal the other person, then the negativity will transform into something positive. We're having a problem with that with our political parties. It's this attitude, fuck our relationships with people, though you got to cut people out that put you down and who shame you. Or you call them out and you heal that shit and you forgive each other or forgive them. But this two-party system, this lobbyist, all this shit that is, it's almost like no one wants to retool the government. It's almost like, do you realize that other countries have 7 fucking parties? We only have 2. Why am I bringing this up? Because it has kept us in a cycle of fear. Because we've never felt like we had a choice. So it was always the lesser of 2 evils. Do you know what that does to your root chakra and generations before you? Do you realize what happens? So there's a feeling of perpetual being trapped. And so then what it does is spill into your personal relationships. Because you see, when you think the lesser of two evil and you look at, well, it's cheaper to keep her. Cheaper to keep her? Well, I'm staying with because of the kids. Really? Because of the kids. Because your 8-year-old doesn't really, can't figure out that your marriage is shit. You think your kid doesn't know. That you guys aren't sleeping in the same bed. Shit like that. All of these insidious subtleties are from a place of lack rooted in your root chakra. Does that make sense? Let's continue. Then the negativity will transform into something positive. Yeah, because if you can, it's like watering a dead plant. Oh yeah, I'm sure something will bud eventually. I don't think so. You better uproot it, throw it away, burn it, and plant new seeds. But why are people afraid of doing that? To start, well, it's really too late for me to start all over again. Really? Why not? Fucking Grandma Moses started painting in her 90s. Really, it's too late? We then become trapped in an impossible situation of our own creation, knowing something is not working, but we are not capable of letting go, fooling ourselves into thinking we can heal and transform through methods that cannot accomplish the task. Yeah, it's kind of like trying to, set up a crop in the desert with a can of water. Good luck. That's going to really work. We've been doing that with everything that surrounds everything. And the 1% has held us by the kahunas of our root chakra for fucking years. And so we're afraid. We've been trained to be afraid. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, baby, it's fucking now broke, so you better fix it. Pull out your tools, baby, because now it broke. Okay? When Kali Devi's sword appears as a message, she advises that whatever we are struggling with can and should be handed over to a higher power. Yeah, I think if we're going to be on our knees, it better be to pray, but not because we're in fear. Let's put it that way. If you're on your knees, it's because you're praying or meditating. It's not because you're afraid. She will sever the threads of attachment, and we can trust that if someone or something is meant to remain in our lives or to return according to divine love and wisdom, then so it shall be. Exactly. All good things will stay, or they'll return transformed and healed. Trust the universe. If we need to go against divine love to keep something, it can only create suffering. She will not only remove that impediment on your path, but support you so the release brings you joy rather than endless sorrow. I remember one of the times I was telling a client today, I got fired from a job. Every fucking morning I woke up saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. I jumped out, literally would bounce out of bed. When was the last time you bounced out of bed? A fucking morning I woke up saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. I jumped out, literally would bounce out of bed. When was the last time you bounced out of bed? Excited, changed my life. The miracles were, you know why the miracles happened? Because I was in gratitude. I wasn't like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I was like, yes, now I can fucking finally think and co-create a life that really means something to me, because that was a shit. That I hated the boss. In other words, the firing was like the universe going, look, we know you're not going to quit, so we're going to help you out. Anything that collapses is a gift from God. Anything. Just understand that, and you'll be fine. The Oracle of Kaja denotes divine workings in a struggle you are moving through at this time. There is a predestined series of events due to occur as orchestrated at a higher level. The timing will incorporate the paths of those you have soul contracts with and the movement of the collective consciousness. For you to be at the appropriate vibrations, move in harmony with where you need to be and whom you need to interact with, certain releases have to take place now. You can trust in the doors that close just as much as the doors that will open as a result. That's right. That's right. Wow, that was amazing. Any questions or comments? How did that hit you guys? How did that hit you? So, okay. I don't want to miss any comments. Okay. So the things that is happening right now, right? Like, for example, the the pagers in Lebanon, for example, exploding, right? And the certain group called the White and Blue Team thinking it's funny. And they're making parodies about their pagers and their little cell phones or whatever the fuck they're doing. Thinking that's funny to pick a fight, to put us into a war. Okay? All of that. There are things we're going to need to change in our countries so that we can stop this shit from happening. Now, if you are part of the 99%, what do? Well, you meditate the new earth. Oh my God, it's just meditation. Listen to me very carefully. Meditation, the Shaolin monks would meditate. And they were able to do pranayama, breathing exercises, and they could manipulate matter. There are Tibetan monks that could actually blow on these huge trumpets, I don't know what they're called, and move massive monolith stones from one area to another. It's pretty much recognized that the pyramids, we couldn't replicate them. If you gave us $1 trillion, none of us could replicate the pyramids. You can't even put a credit card through the stones. Nothing will slip in between. It's so perfectly wedged. So there were energies that came from the human consciousness, right? Starseed consciousness in human form or starseed consciousness in other forms. So yeah, we can actually manifest. There are people who have manifested inoperable illness, cancer, out of their bodies through meditation, through vibration, through sound healing, through their own fucking intention. If they can break down inoperable situations, you don't think we can change this shit and turn the ship around before it hits the iceberg? I think we can. But if you don't think that you're worthy and that you don't matter and you think someone else is going to do it, let me tell you what's kept the planet as it's been. There have been for millions of years, sages and yoginis and avatars who have spent their entire incarnations on pranayama, chanting, and meditations to keep us just sailing, coasting. But now that the illusions of the bullshit 1% is collapsing, we're going to have to fucking get all hands on deck, my friends. And not to play violins while it sinks, but to actually raise the frequency of the planet. And so your sense of self-worth is going to be a very integral part of this transformation. Because if you don't feel worthy that you matter in the collective transformation of this planet, then that is a massive problem. Because to be honest with you, it goes all the way back to the root chakra. And then it goes up to the sacral. And the hurrah in the belly button. Into the solar plexus, the seat of power. Into the heart chakra where you don't feel loved. And when there's all kinds of entanglements. Almost like parasitical energies. Into the high heart. Into the throat chakra to speak your truth and the truth. I mean, I'm sure we can agree that when the Hague, the court, the the human rights courts at the Hague is saying there's something wrong going on in that part of the world, when even they fucking agree with the collective that there must be something, and then we're told they're giving us the fucking bird, the leaders of the world, and actually punishing us to talk about it. You realize that, right? We're not allowed to talk about it. There's certain countries where you'll be arrested on the spot. Okay? And before that happens in our country, because apparently they just had a meeting with the UK people, right? Who are apparently decided that it's a good idea to just shut everyone down. They've come here to teach them how to do it to us. Can you fucking imagine that? So if I were you, I'd start kumbaya, loving myself to pieces so that I can get on board with changing the journey that we're on. Right now we're going the wrong direction, meaning the rest of the world. Many of you are on the right direction, but I don't think that you're actually adding in your meditation. In fact, many of you aren't even fucking meditating. If you can't commit to 5 minutes a day, it's funny how you're convinced that if you don't brush your teeth, there's a price. It's called cavity, root canal. You know that if you don't brush your teeth, you're kind of fucked. Your teeth are going to be rotting in your mouth. You know this, right? but yet you won't commit to 5 minutes a day to actually meditate every day and work on your chakras every day and work on yourself to love yourself enough that you would actually feel powerful enough to help us create the new earth. It's interesting. Why do I say 5 minutes? Because I was looking at an interview with Dr. Joe Dispenza, who says that at 2 minutes, when you do a meditation, you start getting benefits at 2 minutes. So I figure 5. Why? Because I want you to work on your chakras. I want you to learn how to do pranayama, breathing exercises. I want you to learn how to clear your mind and get your nervous system in check within 30 seconds of doing a breath exercise. Why is this important? Because if the shit hits the fan and you have never learned how to ground yourself and get yourself in check, and your root chakras are not in alignment, because it'll take a while to get your chakra, all your chakras in alignment. When the shit hits the fan, you lose someone, somebody dies, shit happens, right? You lose your job. You will be a fucking basket case. So meditation is multiple. There's multiple powers to it. First of all, your chakras are aligned. You're powerful. You're grounded. You've charged them. You're doing mantras. You're breathing. You're getting downloads, aha moments, messages like call today. Call today what? Call today whatever. Here's the answer to your question you've been waiting for years for, but now here it comes out of nowhere. You're missing the point of what meditations are for. They're not to have a silent mind. No one sits in a meditation and has a silent mind. No one. Why do you think monks chant? They chant for vibration. They chant to honor the divine. And they chant to drown out the monkey mind. That's why they chant. And the nuns. Any questions or comments? Anything at all? You guys are very quiet today. Very interesting. The next oracle card that I'm going to pull. Are you up for another oracle? It's 1111. Oh, fantastic. I couldn't see that here. Beautiful. Thank you, Jacqueline. Does anybody want another oracle card? You have a choice between Medicine Heart or Sacred Rebel. I'm going to let you guys choose. Again, Alana Fairchild. She's the only... Honestly, I have tons of oracle, but she's my girl. Thank you. You're so sweet. So are you. We're going to have to do a live together soon, Rachel. I really want you to do a live with me. Does anybody have any preference? Sacred Rebel or Medicine Heart? Type it in. Majority wins. Oh my God, yeah, let's do it. I mean, I didn't think you wanted to. I don't know. I should have asked you a long time. Sacred Rebel. Okay, cool. Sacred Rebel it is. First person, majority wins, we do it. Awesome. All right, let's do it. So Sacred Rebel is by Alana Fairchild, okay? And I will upload this on, and the reason for some of you who are joining us, we are talking about the sacred masculine. We have been talking about root chakra, kidnapping of the masculine and the feminine, but mostly the masculine. We talked about P. Diddy and the examples of him being just a drop in the water of millions and millions of hundreds of millions of men who are devoid of any compass of truth, of integrity, of love, of connection. I mean, all you had to do was look at the man's eyes years ago, right? And see that there was something wrong there. I mean, really. And I'm not just saying that. All right, so when you're ready, pick top, bottom, and middle. The question is, what do we need to know about the collective? Where are we going? Because, wow, it's been a hell of a year. When you're ready, top, bottom, and middle. Majority wins. Middle for me. Okay, cool. Top. Middle, top. One more. Top. Okay, you got it. Top. All right, so... Okay, wow. Okay, now it's 19. 19 in Kabbalah numerology is called Prince of Heaven. It's a beautiful number. It's 10, Isis, Osiris. It's the Wheel of Fortune. It's also in tarot, it's the Sun, Leo energy. 1 plus 9 is 10. 10 is 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 is the Sun in Kabbalah numerology. Again, it goes back, it circles. But the concept of 1 is the beginning. It's this sense of an awakening, and it's called Dream a Beautiful Dream. Holy shit. The new earth is the beautiful dream. And out of many dreams, many of you are oracle dreamers. That means that you guys dream shit before it happens. You guys know what's about to happen. That's why I call some of you oracle dreamers. 1-11-11. My God. Okay, that's amazing. Yeah, we're getting a lot of 11-11s today. All right, so again, I'd like you very much to close your eyes and listen with your body. Okay, let's go. And hang on, let me look at this. 20. Okay. All right. Ready? Let's do it. 19. Dream a beautiful dream. The urge to create is the same within you as it is for the universal creator. It also has the same magical ability to draw harmony into being and to find beautiful order in chaos. Did you hear that? Because we need to hear that again. It also has the same magical ability to draw harmony into being and to find beautiful order in chaos. This includes bringing harmony and the perfect balance of well-being into your body, mind, and emotions. This is also the part of you that wants to dream of beauty and to bring it to life in as many ways as possible. In how you eat, dress, look, behave, and make love, create art, relate to your community, write your poetry by moonlight or bathe by candlelight. If you have come to believe that your love of beauty is superficial rather than a genuine expression of your heart's appreciation of symmetry, harmony, and grace, then you may block your ability to create harmony in your life. You may believe it is unworthy goal, yet beauty, genuine beauty rather than superficial glamour. Did you hear that? Let me read it again. Yet beauty, genuine beauty rather than superficial glamour. How many of you have compared yourself to these bimbos, these celebrities? How many of you have compared yourself in the way you looked, your talents, your worth, your body, your ass, whatever? Oh my God, look at J-Lo's ass. Oh, Kardashian's ass. Oh, my ass doesn't look like that. Let me get myself an ass. What the fuck? Superficial beauty instead of genuine beauty. Wow. Wow. A few singers back in the day. You may believe it is an unworthy goal. You guys, the new earth that we want is absolutely beautiful. You might say to yourself, but we need polarity. That's ugly. If polarity makes others suffer, wouldn't you agree? There are planets called heavenly planets, and there are planets that are called hellish planets. Guess what we are? 50% hell, 50% earth. You can't disagree with me because you're seeing it in action. It is an expression of radiance within the heart and a love of life. If you have struggled with the obsessive attitude towards beauty that tends to prevail in human culture, then it is time you look to nature instead. Her beauty is boundless, quirky, and endless and diverse. If you feel blocked, thwarted, or contaminated by others in your quest to bring your beautiful dreams to life, you may feel that your heart is dulled, minimized, or shut down. Small-mindedness can limit beauty to a very narrow physical sense. You know what I love about... I'm going to tell you a secret. You know what I love about French women? They might have the biggest nose. I can say that. I'm half French. They can have the biggest nose in the world, but they'll wear a red lipstick, and they'll wear mascara, and maybe a little bronzer and some perfume, and very simple. Oh my God, you're so elegant. How do you do that? Simplicity. Not changing the way you look. Looking in the mirror and seeing what you love. If it's a thing of discomfort, right? Then of course maybe it's physically hurting you, like having, I don't know, huge tatas. Then of course you go, okay, it's hurting my back. Fuck this. That's different. That's different. But it's you realizing how perfect you are in your imperfections. The irony is most men that talk about their beloveds It's the imperfections that they love. There's a scene in the Diary of Bridget Jones when she's coming out of bed and she's trying to cover up her bits, as he puts it. He goes, but I love your bits. I love your bits. And she drops the blanket. Do you remember that scene in the Diary of Bridget Jones? It's that we have to really see that in ourselves. That doesn't mean don't adore and adorn yourself. Don't get that beautiful bottle of perfume that makes you happy because you love smelling yourself, or getting that lingerie you adore as a woman. As a man, that doesn't mean don't get yourself a fucking suit or a pair of boots that make you feel beautiful, or cologne, or whatever the fuck, you know? It means don't go under the knife because you don't like your nose, your lips, it's insane. What the fuck? It's insane. And you can tell. You can tell who's had work done. I don't care how old you are. You can tell. Oh, those lips aren't hers. And it's not a judgment call. It's just saying, why? Your lips were fine. Your lips were always fine. Okay. So small-mindedness can limit beauty to a very narrow physical sense. However, you can shun the social disease of superficial, narrow definition of beauty. Thumb your nose at airbrushed images and dare to love what is. Honoring nature is one example. Give yourself permission to feel and be beautiful in many ways. You can feel harmony outside of what is supposed to be harmonious. If you are brave and wild enough, you can even find beauty and harmony amongst the chaos of change. Sensing that change is just the creative process of kicking into gear. Realizing there is nothing to fear brings even greater beauty, harmony, surrender, and grace to the experience of life, creating itself in more stunning forms through you. You are meant to dream of beauty and to create beauty in its far more holistic and creative definition. Beauty is meant to soothe the soul, inspire thoughts of love, devotion, and appreciation, and to balance the nervous system. Yeah, it's not meant to fucking make you anxious. It's not meant to where you're looking at somebody's nose and you want that nose replicated. So you go to plastic surgeons going, can you make me have that nose? There are people doing shit to their face at 20 that they shouldn't even be doing because they have no idea they're still growing. And the shit's going to collapse. Meaning, like implants and then all kind. Like some of the shit I'm seeing, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's almost like if I were rich, like a millionaire, I'd say, I give every girl who doesn't like herself plane tickets to Europe. just go to that part of the world. You'll feel better very soon. You'll see how beautiful you are. Because men will appreciate you. Or girls, whatever. Okay, okay, let me continue. Yeah, I love this line. The soul, okay, to soothe the soul, inspire thoughts of love, devotion, and appreciation, and to balance this nervous system. These are healing effects, healing for the creator and those that receive it. They are worthwhile. They are not meaningless, impractical, flippant, or trivial. A world without the beauty of art in all of its various and unique interpretations would be less colorful, less vibrant, less cheeky, and less healing place to be. Time that you spend dreaming of beauty and allowing it to be born through you in various heart-centered ways is worthwhile. Yeah, I see a lot of people who don't see the value of having a beautiful room, a beautiful, I don't know, bedroom, a beautiful, whatever the fuck it is. Like I'm not saying go broke doing it, but like give yourself an environment that makes you a plate where you pull out the plate and you grin because now this plate makes you happy because it's got mushrooms and a frog, whatever the fuck it is, and you're putting your toast on that plate. It makes you smile, and then your cup has Buddha on it. It makes you happy. And it says what you think becomes matter, something like that. And it just every time you pour tea or coffee in it, it just makes you smile. That's beauty in action. Don't disregard it or discount it. The most beautiful dreams can inspire the practical, hardworking dedication required to bring them to life for the betterment of the world. This oracle also comes with a particular message for you. There's a situation in your life right now where you feel uncertain about your ability to fix or heal. You lack the inspiration to be able to imagine it differently than how it is currently seems to be. You may therefore feel inhibited in your ability to bring about constructive change. However, the perfect beauty of this situation is not revealed by what you attempt to do or go through it, trying to impose the right dream upon it. It is to be healed and perfected into all that it can be through the revelation of the beauty that already lies within it. This happens when we accept the existence of inner harmony in all creation, even if it cannot be consciously observed. By expecting there to be beauty within a situation, even if it is hidden, you will be more open to seeing the healing potential even in your challenge. Don't attempt to force the situation or issue to take the right shape. Instead, ask it to show its beauty to you. This might apply to your body, to your relationship, to your finances, your work situation, a new creative project, or anything else. From this place of inquiry, you will begin to grasp the creative genius of what it is and unveil not only its potential beauty, but how perfect it is for you at this time, just as it is. In opening up to the beauty within yourself and your circumstances, you also open to change. What we accept can change most easily. It is when we resist or deny that change slows down and suffering persists. You can overcome resistance and denial by approaching it with a curious mind, an open heart, and the healing process below. By the way, this oracle has come to you because you have the power to be a positive influence in whatever situation holds the most meaning for you right now. And you need to know that. So it's funny. Remember we talked about you feeling valuable in yourself. So it's dream, a beautiful dream, right? That was the card. It's you need to get within and ask yourself, if you can't love yourself as you are today, the trick to get you there is to pull out a picture of you as a little boy, a little girl, pull it out and pull it on your altar, right? And get a picture of you as a baby because that's easy to love, and then get a picture of you that you really fucking don't like. Okay? The picture represents trauma, probably. Things that were hard, maybe when your parents divorced, or maybe something else that was really traumatic, and put that picture on your altar and learn how to love these two children. The babyhood of you and that picture of you as a child. Learn how to love that child and that baby. And once you accept that, you'll see that you're actually fighting for the soul of these children that are you, actually. A representation of you in this incarnation. And when you look in the eyes of those babies, that baby and that child of yours, you're looking into your soul. And you will love that soul. And at that point, you'll see the value in you meditating the new earth. You'll see the value in you actually rolling up your sleeves spiritually speaking, sitting down cross-legged or on a chair or at the base of a tree and meditating the beauty of the new earth. Because now you're realizing how important and how critical you are to this movement. Because as we see the root chakra being exposed in its deviancy through PDiddy and many of these people, right? As we see this normalization of deviancy now shown as deviancy, many of the masculines who have all said, well, it's normal, all men do this, and they see what that means in its entirety. Just because you don't physically do it and you fantasize about it, it's still deviant. It's still fucking you up. It still has you by the kahunas. It's still somebody holding your root chakra and squeezing it, and you don't own yourself anymore as a man or as a woman. So once you realize all that and you see the beauty in yourself, then you can actually meditate beauty of the new earth. Does that make sense? Because that's what's important. Because if we keep allowing people to think they're shit and nothing they do matter and they're just losers because all you have is minus $30 in your account, if you think that makes you unsuccessful, then you have missed the point of this incarnation. You have missed the entire point of this incarnation. Okay? Because there are shamans out there that they're under the radar. They have no social security. They have no fucking money. And whatever they have, they earn, or it's donated, or they live a magical life. And I'm not joking. And they can stand in the middle of a desert or a forest and make the wind sing for them. That's power. And it can't happen if your root chakra is owned by the 1% through corn, porn, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's not going to ever happen. That's power. For many of you masculines out there, you should read Carlos Castaneda's books, The Teachings of Don Juan, Journey to Ixtlan, and books like that. You know, go back to your shamanistic roots. Because most of you, if you are a man right now listening to me right now, or if you are a divine feminine, you have been shamans. You have been shamans. And it's for some of you, it's hard to even fathom. You're like, that can't be me. No, just because you've got amnesia. Here, let me put it this way to you. Do you remember the movie, The Notebook? Everyone loves that story, The Notebook. Most people have seen it. Is her value any less because she has Alzheimer's? Does it make her any less valuable and lovable because now she's forgotten who she was and who she loved? Well, that in a way is us. We have a collective Alzheimer's of who we really are. And you've taken on these scripts thinking that's all you've ever been, all you'll ever be, and all you'll ever have been. And it's an illusion. You see, because many of you have Alzheimer's, spiritual Alzheimer's. That's what it is. You don't remember your past lives. You don't remember shit. So when I'd say to you, you know, but you're okay with listening to videos saying you're the chosen one. Though, yeah, that totally, yep, that sounds right. See, you love feeding your ego. But when I give you something that's really real, saying, because I just got the download to say that to you. So some of you who are listening to me right now were shamans in past lives. You've forgotten what you used to know. That's a bitch. So I would suggest you start learning all you can about and reading books on shamans, like ancient shamans, you know, from not just Native American peoples, but the Celtic peoples, then the peoples from Indonesia and India. Shamans came from all over the world, from Australia, so on and so forth. Okay? South America. Seen me in vision before now. I love dancing. Yeah, cool. Very cool. Thank you, Letty. Any other questions or comments? I think I think there's so much that you have inside of you that you have not tapped into. And I want to read from the book. It's going to be just a couple pages. It's from the book, The Archangel Guide to Ascension, 55 Steps to the Light, Diana Cooper and Tim Wilde. Step 24. I just opened it, and again, I'm always divinely directed to do certain things. We'll be back on the Mind Power for the 21st century tomorrow. Don't worry, I apologize for the delays. My cat escaped 36 hours into the journey. We finally, our bodies hurt. I feel like I've been hit, like thrown up against the wall and beaten with bamboo sticks. That's how bad because we were looking for him in the woods. I mean, it was like fucked. So it's been a trial. But this is step 24. And so that's why the delays. Step 24. 24 in Kabbalah numerology is love, money, and creativity. It's number 6, co-creation with the universe. 6 is Venus, the planet of love. Okay? Archangel Raphael. Archangel Raphael is guiding us to co-create the perfect vision of fifth dimensional oneness and abundance. He oversees the abundance consciousness of humanity. Let me stop here. He oversees the abundance consciousness of humanity. Now, if humanity, whose root chakra has been grabbed by porn through the root chakra, right? Well, there's no consciousness of abundance, is there? It's a consciousness of lack, of deviant lust, of shame, because most men, I'm just going to say men right now, and women, will feel a tinge of shame, some massive shame, okay? So every time you do that, you're counterclockwise using sex magic, and it's actually hurting you. It's not making you powerful, it's actually depleting your power. If you don't believe me, read Montauk Chi on male sexuality. Okay? He's a Chinese, an incredible Chinese master of female and male sexuality, Montauk Chi. And I'm just, okay, so Look, he oversees the abundance consciousness of humanity. For eons, we have looked to an outside source, such as nature or God, to provide our livelihood. Now, however, Archangel Raphael is teaching us that our source of abundance is infinite and is entirely dependent on our own personal, did you read the personal beliefs? When our frequency matches the vibration of our expectation, and this is in alignment with our higher self, our dreams will all automatically be fulfilled. The faster our frequency, the more quickly we're able to manifest those dreams. Due to the acceleration in the frequency of our planet, our manifestation process is at least 10 times faster than it was at the turn of the century. Did you hear that? That's why shit like PDiddy, 1%, the lesser two evils, in political, all of that shit is coming down. You guys are finally saying, what the fuck is this? Whereas before the 21st century, right? It was all accepted. Oh yeah, well that's just how it is. What do you mean that's how it is? This is fucked up. Yes, but that's why what was interesting about Tupac saying what she said about this is wrong. Why are people amassing wealth when there are people starving? You can go to bed and sleep at night and know there are people starving? 1996 he said that. I reposted the video. Go check out what I reposted. Let me tell you something about that. That is insane because we have more poverty and more kids going to school hungry than we've ever had before since World War II. Okay? So let me read this to you again so you really understand your power. Due to the acceleration in the frequency of our planet, our manifestation process is at least 10 times faster than it was at the turn of the century. That means that what you think becomes matter within months, weeks, not years, not even another lifetime. That means if you despair and you believe that this is just how it is, then you're actually manifesting this at a rate of 10 times faster than ever before. Archangel Raphael is drawing our attention to the speed at which we are able to create our new reality. Did we not dream a dream? Any thought, positive or negative, is reflected back in physical form if sent out with enough drive. Well, let me tell you something. Depression is a drive. Despair is a drive. Toxic anger is a drive. Righteous anger is not. It's not a negative drive. It's a drive that'll get you out of bed and go, fucking this. I'm going to get out of this mess. That's righteous anger. It's not toxic. Weak thought forms are held within our aura and our energy fields and can affect our health. Golden angelic thoughts create a golden aura and a vibrant health. Why do you think I talk to the angels all the time? You know what happened this morning? I'm going to share this with you. This morning, my twin woke me up saying, protect yourself now. Now, did I gaslight myself? Well, oh my God, it can't be my twin. No, protect yourself now. And I did. I called on the 7 archangels. And then he said, now go into the meditation immediately, right now. And I listened. And I went into a 32-minute meditation. Okay? Not looking, all I did was put the alarm clock on my phone, did not look at my phone, did not look at the text, did not look at shit. Did not distract myself with anything. Because my twin said, do it now. And I listened. Archangel Raphael and the third eye chakra. Archangel Raphael is also responsible for the massive amount of work taking place in the third eyes of people at present. At the lower levels of the 5th dimension, the center glows with pale green crystal light, and as we move into the higher aspect, it becomes a clear crystal ball of enlightenment. Thank you, guys. As a general principle, the clearer and more open this chakra becomes, the more our gift of clairvoyance returns to us. Did you hear that? He didn't say becomes. He says return to us. Why would he say return to us? Well, he's saying return to us because we've always had it. Like I said, Alzheimer's. As it clears, we are able to see our own magnificence and connect with the angelic frequencies more easily. Now let me ask you this. If 1% of 8 billion people could do this daily, on the daily, do you really think the 1%, the fuckery of the 1% that have had their boots on our throat could continue their fuckery? Really? Do you realize your power? Do you realize why they have you by the root chakra? Yeah, that's right. And that's why they're taking our masculines to that level to keep them shut down for what? Damn near, what, since the 1940s? I'm going to say since the 1940s. Because when did Hugh Hefner start his magazine? And what happened next? And what happened next after that? Don't confuse erotic work like beautiful nude paintings of men, women, sculptures, this, that, in Europe to what happened here. Don't fucking confuse it. It's not the same at all. Let's not go there. As a matter of fact, there was a Picasso exhibit. I'll never forget this shit. There was a Picasso exhibit in, I forgot if it was 2000, I forgot, but it was 21st century. And of his erotica, Picasso, all his line drawings. I love Picasso's erotic line drawings. They're amazing. And they were in negotiation to bring it to America, New York. And you know, the French got so fucking disgusted. The conversations must have been stupid. And the French decided, fuck this, we'll just take it to Canada. It never hit America. But look at the porn we got. Oh yeah, no problem. Let's just grab our masculine root chakra and take, they're like bulls. They're like bulls that have been, oh my God, I didn't want to say lobotomized. Let's put it that way. The third eye is a powerful tool that is used for manifestation in all dimensions. This is where we see our vision and send out the thoughts that bring the vibration into our life in physical form. If I was a man, if I look like Ari, which by the way, Ari, Arri, he's on Instagram, amazing divine masculine. If I looked like Ari and sounded like Ari, if I was a man that was 6'4", built like a brick shit house in my 30s, will you then believe me when I say that to you, my masculine brother? Does it have to be a man? See, this is why I ask men to call out men. Because I already know the answer to that question. See, I don't ask questions unless I know the answer. And for many of you who have absolute basic disrespect of women, be honest with yourself. Be honest. Because if you did have respect, you wouldn't do it. You would really hold your sensuality and sexuality as a sacrament to your beloved. I don't care if you're gay, bisexual, or straight. You keep it together and you'd really own it. And you never let anyone's energy on it except who you loved or cared for. Let's be honest. Right ear is ringing. Right on. Does that make sense? See, because divine masculines that I'm looking at, they're not doing it. All right, let's continue. This is where we see our visions and send out the thoughts that bring the vibration into our life in physical form. It is one of the most important tools in our ascension process and must always be used with the highest intent. When our third eye chakra is fifth dimensional, we can send a connection out to Jupiter and its ascended aspect, Jumbe. When we beam the vision we wish to create up to Jumbe, it is blessed by this mighty planetary consciousness. Then it is bounced back to our etheric energy field to be solidified. The moment we are ready, when we focus a clear, disciplined mind on our vision, miracles take place immediately. When we enjoy cosmic abundance consciousness, this reflects in our personal prosperity. Archangel Raphael is teaching the principles of abundance and manifestation so that we can stand on our own 2 feet as masters. We can provide everything for ourselves when our consciousness is attuned to the highest possibilities. That's amazing. That's amazing. Why do they make it seem DM, divine masculine, when they sleep with other women? Well, I mean, let me put it this way. When you have these influential men, these multimillionaire men, who, you've seen them, right? They're the Tate, they're the Andrew Tates of the world. There's a couple of guys I've seen on TikTok and other things, and they're like they're fucking too old to be this stupid, but they are. And they'll talk about women and how they feel women should be, and a woman should submit to them. These are like American men saying this, okay? And when I look at these people talking like that, there is a lack of wisdom. There's a lack of emotional intelligence. And so for them, it is a flex to conquer other women because they think that's a masculine flex. You know what's a masculine flex? Being rich, gorgeous, well endowed, and the most beautiful woman comes by and you actually turn her down because you love your woman. That's a flex because it shows discipline. It shows respect of self, respect that no one can own you. Because the minute that is that easy to own you, you're owned, period. And this is something I remember I learned long ago. You know? And that's why, what did they do in corporate America and corporate in Europe and wherever? They would always have girls on the payroll to influence business deals. Let's be honest, okay? That means a man can be owned by his root chakra. And when you're owned, you don't own yourself anymore. You can be led by your nose like a bull to slaughter. Let's be honest, okay? And so that's why, because it's normal. We're all doing it. You're sheep. You're sheep. You're all doing it. Wolves don't do it. Wolves mate for life. And real alpha wolves, I talked about it before, Rachel, you remember. Wolves will take care of their community. These men, there was one of these guys, again, I wish I knew his name, but, he's one of these just schleppers. He thinks because he's got $100 million in the account that he can swagger his shit. I wouldn't go on a date with him if you paid me $100,000. My soul is too important to myself, not to mention my mind. But he made a comment that there were certain things he needed from a woman or else. There's this arrogance. I remember one day there was a scene with Andrew Tate dating this chick, very good looking woman. And I don't know why she sat through the fucking... I would have walked out fucking within 2 minutes. I would say, it was good meeting you. Have a great life. I wouldn't break bread with that man. She did. And she kept trying to prove to him her value. And the more he treated her like shit, the more she lapped it up. That's why men cheat. Because women want to be chosen. I'm not talking about twin flames in this. I'm talking about just bare, basic soulmate connection, or just karmic connection, or just a lesson, or whatever you want to call it. Just dating. I remember there was a girlfriend of mine who sat through a lunch where the guy she was dating was flirting with the waitress. I said, "Are you telling me that you sat through that shit? Are you for real?" She went, "Well, no. You should have fucking left. You should have paid for your meal, got a doggy bag, grabbed that shit, and said to the waitress, 'Have a seat, enjoy lunch, bye.'" That would have been it. So, it's interesting. But did you hear that? The root chakra is the very key to your abundance. And the third eye can't really be in full activation, to be honest. And I learned this from... It's a long story and I can't really get into it. I wish I could. I don't know how much I would be edited out right here. But anyway, the root chakra is going to help you with your third eye. Now, I have a video that you guys can check out. I believe it's called Sex Magic. And when you go all the way to the bottom, you'll see I talk about white chakras and how you use them and how you always work on all of them. But if you have problems in one chakra, you spend more time. But you don't just, today, I'm just going to do my solar plexus. No, bad. You're going to do all your chakras, but today you'll spend more time in your solar plexus, for example. The fifth dimensional third eye chakra of this planet is Afghanistan. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Let's read that again, friends. The fifth dimensional third eye chakra of this planet is Afghanistan. And when enough people bring their third eye... Did you hear what just happened to Afghanistan? Women aren't even allowed to talk. Do you see how it's all fucking interconnected? When enough people bring their own third eye into clarity and alignment, that country will automatically reflect this by restoring peace in the new golden age. Afghanistan will be a majestic fifth dimensional location. Holy shit. Did you get... Let me ask you this. I just want to know where you guys are at. I don't have a TV. I don't watch the news. Okay? But somehow I know what the fuck's going on. So let me ask you this. How many of you know what happened in Afghanistan recently with the women? Raise your hand. Say something. I'm not kidding. Don't be shy. This is not the time. How many of you know what happened to women in Afghanistan? Okay, me a little. Okay. Anybody else? Like, honestly, don't be... Yes, I know. Good. Okay, so we know what happened, right? It started with the Taliban. The Taliban were part of... James Bond... That there used to be our friends in the 80s. There's a James Bond with them in the movie. They're like our heroes, okay? Okay. So when we walked out of Afghanistan, there was one of the top surgeons. I'll never forget this. She was the top surgeon. I think she was a neurosurgeon. And she was told that she had to wear the whole garb, right? With the veil over her eyes. How the fuck is she going to practice surgery, right? I hope to God she got the fuck out of that country. But anyway, I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know what happened to her. So they went from wearing that shit to now they are complete. You can't even show your hair, and your voice, the female voice, cannot be heard outside. So you can't speak to anyone that you're not related to. You can't... Pretty much, the Afghanistan towards women make the Handmaid's Tale look like Peter Pan Club. Looks like something out of Alice in Wonderland. Not great, but fucking not as bad as that. Okay? So did you hear what I said about the third eye? Do you understand how you guys meditating on the new earth is so critical to the entire planet? Do you get that when we have one group of women who are completely... put in mental, spiritual, physical straitjackets, that our awakening depends on them being free, and their freedom will help us in our awakening. Do you get that? I'm going to continue reading, okay? Health and happiness. Archangel Raphael and Mary are twin flames. Did you hear that? Are twin flames. They hold the divine blueprint for the perfect health and happiness of humanity. Archangel Raphael overlights any form of healing in this universe and is with anyone who is giving healing, whether it is hands-on, distance, counseling, massage, or any form of healing on the physical or etheric level. He is also with the person receiving healing. You can call on Archangel Raphael to assist with the healing process of your own body and its etheric structure or those of other people. The law of non-interference states, however, that you do not interfere with another person's lessons. When you ask, okay, let's clarify this, okay, because many of you are going to get confused with this. I'm just going to answer the question. However, do not interfere with another person's lessons. Let me explain something to you about that, okay? Because I don't agree. Just because I'm reading this shit doesn't mean I agree on everything. When you have a twin flame that is completely ignorant and doesn't know reincarnation from apple butter, okay? Your job is to make sure they understand past lives, soulmates, soul connection, karma, the basic rudimentary aspect of their awakening has to happen. And if you won't do it, it won't do itself. It will not, this person who's entrenched in 3D isn't going to suddenly kumbaya it. Because by now, what I'm finding is that most of the people that have been awakened have been awakened. And the kids being born are being born awakened. They don't need your help, believe it or not. What they need is your mentoring to support them. But for the adults out here in the world, okay, that have been entrenched in 3D for their entire existence, the first 20, 30 years of their lives, 40 years, whatever, they fucking need your help. So you're not pushing your agenda on them, you're just trying to wake them up, okay? When you ask Archangel Raphael to give or send healing, he will only work under the law of grace. This means that healing will only take place with the permission of the higher self of the person involved and for the highest good of all. This mighty archangel also cooperates with the lords of karma so that when they bring our karma forward, he surrounds us and heals us. Within the fifth dimensional blueprint, all the chakras are clear and flowing. So the body, isn't that interesting? Within the fifth dimensional blueprint, all of the chakras are clear and flowing. This is what I've been seeing for a while, years, is that what happens is that you might think that, well, if it's not red, I got to keep doing it until my root chakra is red. Some of you will see different colors, as long as they're clear and bright. Different colors, clear quartz prismatic colors, that's okay. And I just bought this book. I've never read this book. This is my first time. This page I'm reading, I'm just reading it with you. So I knew this because I started seeing it myself. That sometimes my chakras were clear. Before my mother died, and I worked on her chakras so to help her so she could, release a lot of some scars and shit like that. I worked on her chakras and they were exploding into prismatic shards, which was important because it was like unlocking her from this dense 3D constraints. And when I started doing a lot more work on I've always done my chakras, but let's say once I saw that, I realized, okay, let me work on mine. Let me do a couple things. I'm not going to tell you exactly what I did to her, because I don't want you to do it unless you know what the fuck you're doing, okay? But because I'm not going to tell you this, but I will say this, that as you turn your chakras clockwise, not counterclockwise, don't do that, clockwise, you're going to see that as you do this every day, in a year or two, it could be even sooner, I don't know, I'm just saying, at some point you'll start seeing the colors get clearer and clearer. It's a good sign. You don't worry, you're fine. Okay? Within the fifth dimensional blueprint, all the chakras are clear and flowing, so the body radiates a healthy cellular structure. Currently in the collective consciousness, there's a belief that the physical body is limited in its power to regenerate after certain injuries. In truth, the only thing that limits a physical body is the belief structure of the individual. Every cell of our body responds directly to the power of our thoughts, so that the fifth dimensional blueprint supports a perfectly physical sheath. Some souls choose to incarnate into a damaged body to balance karma, but now most do so in order to give others, and that's exactly the truth, to give others lessons in unconditional love and acceptance, or to challenge and expand the belief held in the collective consciousness. Let me explain what that means in brass tacks. So there was a time in the 1950s and 60s, up until the mid-70s, where anybody that had, any adult that had a child with disability was sent away. This was protocol. You never saw kids with Down. You never saw kids with autism. You didn't see anything. Nothing. They were always sent away. It's disgusting, and it happened. And it really collectively damaged empathy. And I'm not sure what happened. It could have been budget cuts or whatever fuckery you might have thought, well, that's fucked up, but it was important. Because what it did suddenly is that families had to take care of their loved ones at home, children mostly. And I remember Abraham and Esther, actually it was Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks was talking about why so many kids with autism were being born. And it was to help us fucking stop thinking that something had to be a certain way, a person had to be a certain way for them to be valid and intelligent, which is still a struggle. Because there are kids that are nonverbal with autism, and they're nonverbal, and they're giving them verbal, your basic fucking IQ, and they're coming below the IQ level. But when you give these kids nonverbal IQs, they score into genius levels. Some of them are telepathic and will speak to you telepathically. They already know how to speak telepathically. We're the idiots. We are the idiots. How do I know that? Because there was a client of mine who is in upper mucky muck working with kids on the spectrum. And the child, I think she was a teenager, I think she was 15 or 16, was actually on her iPad writing down what she was thinking as she was thinking it, and she had not articulated a one fucking word. Many of these kids are going to be lost in the system due to massive pharma, lobotomy, using pharma, and just being thrown away because they're nonverbal. Nonverbal doesn't mean you don't have a brain. Nonverbal means that some of them are so advanced they're doing telepathy already. Just on the side note. So many of them have been incarnating to help us fucking, as the collective, to go through the ascension portals. There are different ways of communicating. And we, as the verbal, supposedly neurotypical collective mindset, we think we got the shit together, and we have yet to catch up to understanding that there are different geniuses out there. And just because we don't recognize them, because they don't match our step, doesn't mean that they're not valid. They're incredible, not only very valid, it's very important for us to advocate for them. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Just, thought I'd share that. Let me look at another chakra. Or should we continue with this one? Okay, let me see. Any questions or anything? We are all connected, yes. Yes, but no offense, we can say that all day long until we actually act like it. You see, it's good to say that, but how do we do it so that we actually act like we're connected? How do we act like we're connected? I'll give you an example, and it might hit you on a different way. Let me give you an example. How do we make people feel safe? How do we make people feel safe? Well, we demand that a protocol of nonverbal IQs are used all across schools that have, kids on the autism spectrum. Not just nonverbal, but verbal as well. There are different types of IQs. People need to be shown their brilliance in different ways. And how we make people feel safe if we realize that some of them have sensory challenges. And some of these schoolrooms, the walls are painted, and the lighting above, on the fluorescent lighting, it's fucking ridiculous. We know it's not good. They've done studies after studies, psychological studies on the color of paint for concentration, for calmness, for brilliance, and different lighting. And we're still not fucking doing it. By design. You don't think it's by design? You don't think porn is by design? Not educating our children is by design? Not using environmental colors that are going to help them in concentrating and scoring well in their tests? You don't think it's by design? You don't think we should have classrooms outside when it's, the spring and summer? Outside? With chairs outside under trees? Like Play-Doh? Why aren't they doing that? They don't give a shit, that's why. Some souls choose to incarnate into a damaged body to balance karma. But now, most do so in order to give others lessons in unconditional love and acceptance, or to challenge and expand the beliefs held in the collective consciousness. While any angelic being of the seventh dimension or above can heal, call in Archangel Raphael or Mary to bring the fifth dimensional blueprint into alignment. Archangel Raphael also works with the unicorns to help bring about enlightenment for individuals and humanity. He works on the emerald ray, and the emerald gemstone is the physical manifestation of his presence on earth. His energy helped to co-create the emerald tablets brought through by Thoth in ancient Egypt. On third dimensional level, the emerald tablets speak of wisdom and the journey of humanity through darkness, striving for the light. There is a facet of these tablets that remains untranslated until we reach a unified level of consciousness. Then we will be able to understand the language of unconditional love, the Christ light that reached perfection in the golden era of Atlantis. This light was placed within the layers of the emerald tablet by Archangel Raphael, Michael, and Metatron, as well as Thoth, to be released as Earth ascends to its new peak. So listen, it's been promised. We just need to show up to the meeting and sign our names on the, yeah, I'm here for the ascension. You know, I mean, it's that simple. Archangel Raphael's retreat is in Fatima, Portugal. We can visit him there to receive healing and tune into cosmic abundance and enlightenment. We can also work with him in the following vibrations and visualizations. So, I want you to just start taking some of your meditation time and meditate what you need for you, and then leave 2 to 3 minutes, maybe even 5 if you're doing like a 15-20 minute meditation. Carve out 5 to 3 minutes on the new earth. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that smell like? How beautiful is it? How is leadership? What kind of leadership do we have? Or do we have no leadership? Meaning we have collective agreements. We go back to when we were like clans, tribes. And we created systems we all agreed on. There was something I loved about the book, How the Irish Saved Civilization. So as you know, as the Catholic Church was having happy bonfires all over fucking Europe, burning all the fucking ancient whatevers, wisdoms, many of which will never recover, and many of which is in the Vatican because they hoarded it. The Arabs were collecting a lot of the ancient writings from the Greeks, the Egyptians, and so forth. And the Irish, little island, right? And one of the things I loved about the Irish, because, I don't know if you guys know, but my twin was 100% Irish on both sides, obviously. And they would meet once a year, I guess in the square or wherever, and married couples would meet, and they would decide, women were as equal to the men, and they would decide whether or not they would renew their vows or choose another man or woman to be their beloved. Every year, they would reassess their marriage, and they could freely break the bonds and create new bonds with new beloveds. Is that wild or what? That was going on like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. So it was interesting that there was such respect for women. So, but there was no porn, was there? There was still ribald sexuality, wild, rompous sex. But there was no need for porn because they could connect. When you see the scene of Rob Roy with his woman, I forgot her name in the movie, but Jessica something, I forgot her last name, the actress, and they're at the Stones. They're naughty, they're sensual, they're eye to eye, breath to breath connecting. Porn was exactly what they wanted, so that the divine masculine would be eyes fixed on his screen or his magazines, eyes away from you, eyes comparing you then, and you feeling it. Instead of connecting soul to soul, breath to breath in the most tantric, absolutely sacrosanct, beautiful connection that I don't think people have really experienced anymore. I really don't. And I think that's why when twin flames talk about their connections, right? Sexual connections, it is so transcendental, and the average person doesn't have a fucking clue what you're talking about. Because they're effing, they're not making love. And they're effing because the man doesn't know how to be. And the woman will accept the porn and figure, well, maybe he needs to watch this so he can get stimulated. Why? You're owned, my friends. You're owned, my brothers out there. You're owned. So start taking lessons from divine masculines. There are a lot of them coming up through the ranks, thank fucking God. And I doubt Ari's doing it, because if you see what he's saying about the divine masculine, the divine feminine, it is so pure and beautiful. There's no way his root chakra is owned by anyone but himself. He owns himself fully. And because he owns himself fully, he can actually give himself fully to his divine feminine. He has a divine feminine. And he gives himself fully to her. And she to him. That's what you guys are missing out. And that's why you guys are lonely. And that's why you're all ending up lonely. There are more likely men to be lonely than women. Do you know why? Because we women have like 5, 6 awesome friends, and we talk and we have a great time, and we talk about our pain. We talk about everything. Our traumas, our pains, our joys, our successes, our dreams, our hopes. You guys talk about sports, money, and chicks. And some of you who are really, really connected to your heart do have incredible brothers you speak to. But unfortunately, it's not the norm. It really isn't. It isn't. That's why we're able to be without a man. And it's fucking ridiculous, in my opinion. And men need women more than women need men. Because we have community. We build them. We've always had them. You guys aren't. You're talking bullshit. You're talking P. Diddy shit. Maybe lower level, but it's still P. Diddy shit. It's not high level. And it's sad. So the book many of you need to read, as divine masculines should read if they want to be divine masculines, Iron John. Buy the book Iron John. Read about that by Robert Bly. Read that book. Read I have this other book I want to tell you, which is I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna come up with a list of just books for men. Okay. And the first thing you have to understand is your monkey mind and the looping and rumination that is harming you from being successful. Okay? You need to get your act together and really do your purging. Do you understand? Because I've seen amazing men destroyed by past root chakra trauma that was never revealed to their own eyes, and they died with that trauma. Whereas, thank God, most of us in the feminine collective, we're fucking excavating the shit out of our root chakra as fast as possible. And we're going through the throes and the pain and the shame, and then purging that. And thank God we have girlfriends we can go to talk about that hypnotherapy or that fucking somatic healing massage or whatever that had us sobbing and sobbing. You guys aren't doing that kind of work. And if I were you, I would talk to your women friends and say, where are you going for your healing? Who's your therapist? Who's your massage therapist? Or who's your Reiki master? I'd be fucking asking questions. And because the sooner you get that done, the more powerful and healed and successful you will be. Money will be, will come to you like a puppy. And if you're going through the loss of someone you loved, you got to heal that, but you got to heal the very beginnings of what made you unworthy to yourself to have love. And the games you had to play with yourself and your male friends and the world so that you would be seen as strong and respected by the world. Vulnerability, as my son said, is your second strength. Not all women are prepared for a divine masculine. They're not. They're bimbos. They're Barbies. If that's what you're looking for, you reap what you sow. But if you want a true divine feminine, then she will open her arms to you and give you sacred circle and give you peace and hold your head on her lap while you weep and shed all the pain, and you'll come out the most powerful masculine you ever thought you could be. But the first person you need to be honest with is that little boy inside of you. And then you have to father it and raise it. Because if you're going to hang with people like who think P. Diddy was cool and, all these guys that are billionaires were cool for having 50 broads on the payroll, if they think that's cool, if they think porn is normal, if they think ogling 14-year-old girls is normal, you're on the wrong crowd. You need to switch your crowd. And yeah, for a while you'll be a lone wolf until you find divine sacred masculines on the journey like you are. You'll meet at a crossroad moment. But they're out there. Trust me. They're out there. And they're looking for brothers like you who are on the journey of healing, so you guys can have real fucking conversation. Not, oh, who won the Super Bowl? Really? The games of Rome, the circus, to keep us distracted. Come on, man. And more Super Bowl shows and more. What was that? A devil worship sign? Who gives a fuck anymore? Like, we know what it is. Let's not even put any attention to that anymore. Let's turn our backs to all their games. Like, literally, it would be nice if suddenly overnight the whole world stopped watching the Super Bowl. Wouldn't that be amazing? Or at least like they're used to having 1 billion people watching. Yeah, only like 20 million watch. And the rest of us fucking actually open our third eye. How's that for an idea? We need to get to that place, because these distractions are distracting us from real work and from real joy and from real bliss and from absolute true freedom. These are distractions that clutter your mind with garbage and images and subliminal shit that harm you. Yeah. So anyway, I want to thank you so much. I hope this helped. I hope this made sense. Anybody have a question before I go, or comment? I'd love to read your comments. I'm going to give you like 5 minutes to type out your comments. Not 5, but 2 minutes. Any comments? Any comments? Let me see. Thank you, Star, for... I'm Irish, but a lot more than 2. Any comments or questions? Any comments at all? No? Okay. Thank you for being here. Sending you much love on your journey. I'll upload